Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the KMN 1971, and it's about time for another comic book haul. Have about a little under 60 books to show, so let's jump right on in. So, starting off, Heroes in Crisis number 8, storyline I've been enjoying very much. Um, if the killer, I believe, was revealed in this issue, if it plays out, there are going to be some pissed off people. Wow. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this wraps up. Moving along, Batman Who Laughs, number 4, the Carrie Andrews cover. Detective Comics 1001 with a Killer David Finch cover and cameo appearance of the Arkham Knight. Glad to see Mark Brooks back on cover action for Detective Comics. Here's Detective Comics 1002 with the first full appearance of the new Arkham Knight. And I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in the storyline so far. You had Doug Mankey, your main artist on Detective Comics, illustrating that useless fill-in arc that was the build-up allegedly to, or the countdown allegedly to Detective Comics 1000. And then you put your B artist on the Arkham Knight storyline that you've been hyping up. That just doesn't make much sense to me whatsoever. If you're going to introduce a major new character, you should have your A-list artist doing it. Just my opinion. So, moving on, Detective Comics number 68 and number 69, which features my cover of the whole by Francisco Mattina. Love that cover. Awesome stuff. Let's keep it moving. Justice League of America number 21 and number 22. NAOMI number 4, 2 more issues to go, and wow, what a bunch of controversy that erupted over what her first appearance is or what it is not. Wow. So if the artists of the if the artist and the writer tell you that an issue of Action Comics featuring that the key collector app is trying to push is not the first appearance, I would believe Brian Bendis over the key collector app. That key collector app, it does have a lot of correct information on it, but it has a lot of anomalies too. And it almost seems like they're at that stage where cable news was after they discovered, after the OJ car chase, that they need a car chase to keep up the ratings. So it just seems like he wants to be the first one to throw out some hot spec out there for his hot spec alerts to justify you paying for the app. And it's not really backed up in reality. So take it with a grain of salt. Superman number 10, just a solid read. Green Lantern number 6, great read, as always, as you would expect with Grant Morrison. And love this Perillo B cover. Beautiful stuff. I hopped back onto Spawn for the next, 4 issues or so, because I am a sucker for an anniversary issue, and I haven't bought any issues of Spawn in years, so it's a great thing about the hobby. These characters are like old friends. You can catch up to with them years and years later. So, cool stuff. Beautiful cover, too. I believe that's a Mattina cover also. Uncanny X-Men number 15 and 16. Good stuff. Happy to have them back on my pull list. I have to say that every time. All right. Another contender for cover of the hall, Savage Sword of Conan number 4, another Alex Ross classic. Love how they have all those early classic Savage Sword of Conan magazine covers in the background. Conan number 5. Once again, just another really solid read from Marvel. Alright, move that on the way. I ended up getting sucked into the rest of this Avengers No Road Home storyline after initially picking up the Conan crossover just to see how it played out. So here's number 8. Oops, sorry. Let me take that one back. So here's number 8. Number 9. And the conclusion in number 10. So, kind of like their last major storyline that introduced the Immortal Hulk and Voyager. the overall storyline's good, but the way they wrap it up at the end, they just cannot seem to nail the landing in a non-corny fashion. Just my take on it. Here's a book that's not doing as well as I think it should be. Guardians of the Galaxy, #4. All-star cast for cosmic characters. Great creative team. Highly recommended. Venom #13, which was about average, I guess. Without Donny Cates, there would be no way I'd be reading this title. And even with Donny Cates, it has kind of been dragging after the initial Null storyline. So hopefully it can pick up for the major Carnage storyline that's going to erupt in a couple of months. Speaking of which, Cult of Carnage, which was actually a good read, but kind of like Venom, just had some really below average artwork. Star Wars #64, which has also been kind of like, just mediocre as of lately. And a title that has been anything but mediocre, The Immortal Hulk, #16, which I have officially caught up on, and what a great read. It definitely deserves all the hype that it's been getting. This is my favorite run on the Hulk since Peter David and Todd McFarlane were on the cover, easily. Alright, and a good segue into the back issues. So, I finally ended up picking up Immortal Hulk #6, and I believe this is #7. Yes. And so happy. I mean, I had to overpay. I paid basically a little under $20 for those 2 issues, but I'm one of those old school run guys, so if I have to pay a little money to fill a hole in my run so I can read the story, as long as it's a good story, it's always worth it. And this definitely is a great story. Keep it up with some Alex Ross goodness. Red Sonja Conan #1. Another Alex Ross cover. Definitely not one of his strongest ones, but still love it. Aquaman #7. This is the first appearance of the others, which are rumored to be making their appearance in the DC Extended Universe. Or Cinematic Universe, whatever they're calling it. Hellboy in the Chapel of Moloch, one-shot. I guess this is a good enough time in the video to speak a little bit about the movies that have been released over the past month. So, Hellboy, out of the big 3 superhero movies that came out this month, I did not get around to go seeing it. The week that Shazam opened up, my brother, who's always my co-pilot to go see geek movies with ever since Empire Strikes Back, way back in the 80s. So he was sick, so I didn't go to see it without him. So I went to go see Shazam the week that Hellboy opened up, and then I was busy the following week, and then this week was Avengers Endgame, of course. So didn't get to see Hellboy. I'm really disappointed to hear about the reviews, and I mean, the writing was kind of on the wall. I mean, I love Mila Jovovich. She's beautiful. I think she's a pretty good actress. But anytime I see her involved in a project that just screams B-movie, because that's what basically she stars in. And the special effects in the trailers weren't that great, but I was hoping that they could clean it up for the initial release. And I guess they didn't. So will I check out the movie once it comes out on Netflix or cable? Definitely, but I probably won't make it out to see the movie this month. Shazam, on the other hand, it was okay. Got a lot of great reviews, but it was just a little bit too kiddie for me. For someone that doesn't have kids, I could see if you brought your kids and your whole family that you might enjoy it a little bit more. But for me, that kind of enjoys gratuitous sex and violence, it just was a little bit too kiddie for me. Aside from Suicide Squad, it was probably my least favorite DC movie. So that being said, Avengers Endgame was all of that and a bag of potato chips. Just incredible spectacle. Stay away from the internet. I'm not going to get into any spoilers or any issues I had with the movie, but I will say that it's probably in my top 3 favorite superhero movies of all time, and the battle in Act 3 is probably the most epic superhero battle that you've seen on the big screen ever. So that's my 2 cents on the 3 movies that came out this month. Moving along. Silver Surfer, Superman #1. Love my cross-company crossovers, but this was a pretty lame story, unfortunately. Mighty Mouse #1 from Marvel Comics. Didn't even know about this book, but it's an obvious humorous homage to The Dark Knight Returns. So, as you can see on the cover, The Dark Might Returns. So, had to have it. It was only like $3. Doctor Strange #15. I forget the girl on the background, the crazy Christian singer that had her face removed, wanted her face removed from this cover. So, had to pick it up. Galactus: The Origin. Another one of those Cop Rage books that I've always wanted in my collection. Ended up picking up a nice cheap set of Tales of the Green Lantern Corps, which features the first appearance of the Green Lantern Orisa. #2, which features the first appearance of the villain Necron, who some of us remember from the classic Blackest Night storyline. And #3 to complete the miniseries. I used to own issue #1 way back in the day when I was a little kid, so really cool. What I did not know is that all of those covers were illustrated by Brian Bolland, so really early Brian Bolland artwork. Sweet. Let's move a couple of these out of the way. Little Bronze Age action. Avengers #209, first appearance of the Resurrection Stone, which has nothing to do with Endgame. Fantastic Four #169. Once again, that Luke Cage versus Fantastic Four storyline. I had the second part, so I wanted the first part of it also. Fantastic Four #175, the High Evolutionary versus Galactus. Yep, sign me up. Fantastic Four #189, the Human Torch versus the original Human Torch, which turns out to be just one of those Marvel reprint issues where they missed a deadline. Incredible Hulk #227. Amazing Spider-Man #181. ASM 183. And ASM #204, early Black Cat appearance. I also picked up my second copy of Black Lightning #1. Couldn't leave it there just for $3. And in my older years, I am becoming a bit of a comic book hoarder. If I can find another copy of a first appearance for a reasonable price and I already own it, I'm buying that stuff. All right, now to get into the key issue section of the video. So, I guess one good thing about the Hellboy movie flopping is that it'll bring the price down on some of the Hellboy comics that I'm trying to buy, which is basically the same thing that's happened with Iron Fist ever since the cancellation of the Iron Fist show. So I finally polished off my Marvel Premiere Iron Fist run, and hence polishing off my Bronze Age Iron Fist run. So now that I completed the Marvel Premiere run, and as well as completing his first ongoing series. So here's Marvel Premiere #20, which I believe might be the first appearance of Batroc, the French assassin. Marvel Premiere #22, #23, #24, and #25. Great stuff. I already had an issue. I already had a copy of #25, but this one's actually in a little bit better of shape. So, and it came with a lot. So very happy about that. I also picked up Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #7. I'd say probably a fine plus to very fine minus copy. Has a little bit of a corner crease up there, and the main detriment is actually the miswrap. But beautiful cover. I forget who the actual artist that Steranko is homaging here, but love that trippy cover. Aside from Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #4, this is my favorite Steranko S.H.I.E.L.D. cover, period. Also picked up a couple of my Conan key issues. Very few, but but they were on my list. So here's Conan the Cimmerian #1. And this is the Dark Horse 100 Special Edition, which there's only 1,000 copies of this particular variant out there. I ended up discovering the Dark Horse 100 Special Edition variants last year when I found the Hellboy one. So when I was looking, when I was when I found that, I kind of stumbled across this, and I've always wanted to pick it up. So tough white cover, and if you're a Conan fan, I can't see why you wouldn't want to add this into your PC. I was also very happy to scratch this one off my list. This is the Savage Sword of Conan, number 235, and this is the last issue of that very long-running series. Great stuff. One of the cool things about it is that the main story is written by Roy Thomas and illustrated by John Buscema. And I just think that is so awesome that Marvel allowed them to do that, because they were the first creative team for Savage Sword of Conan number 1, which Roy Thomas even states in the letters column in the back of the issue. And they pretty much let them close out the series also. So pretty much the quintessential Conan team of the 70s and 80s. And lastly, my pick of the haul, Jungle Action number 6. Started to plug away at my Jungle Action run that I want to collect. And I know it officially starts with number 5, but number 5 is technically a reprint. So this is the first time that the Black Panther headlined his own comic. And this was his first original solo storyline. And as we all know, features the first appearance of the Kill-Monger, who, aside from Thanos and Loki, my favorite villain in the MCU by far. I hope I hope they find some way to bring him back somehow, some way. And I thought it was also really cool, that scene where he lifts up T'Challa and throws him off the waterfall was actually in this comic. I actually saw that in the movie first, so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, Jungle Action number 6, Black Panther, great stuff. Another one of those Bronze Age runs that I want to collect. So that's all I have for this week. I will see you all next month with another comic book haul, and somehow, some way, I'm also going to be doing a comic book collection spotlight, focusing in on celebrating 80 years of Batman, kind of like I did with my Superman vid months ago. So I don't know when that will be out. I have to dig out the comics, decide which ones, how I want to structure it and stuff like that. So, but something else to be on the lookout for if you feel like it. All right. So have a great weekend out there. Great weekend to be geek. Have Avengers Endgame. If you're in the New England area, you have the Boston Celtics in round 2 of the playoffs. And of course, there's Game of Thrones episode 3 tonight. So a lot of good stuff to geek out to. So thank you all for watching, liking, and subscribing. Take care. Have a great weekend. See ya.